Lay not up to yourselves treasures on earth, where the rust and moth consume, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up to yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither the rust nor moth doth consume, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where thy treasure is, there is thy heart also.
Welcome to Analog Catholic. My name is Benjamin, and joining me as always is my good friend.
Robert.
Nice.
There you go. I did the full name this time because
I think we do it every time. I think we do it every time, and then we joke about how it's our full names
we definitely did this bit already. I think people are gonna
at
listen to
least
this
twice.
and they're gonna think, man, I just keep replaying the same episode
Yeah,
over and over again.
yeah.
What's today's topic, Ben?
Today we're talking about Dave Ramsey and No Rent Life.
I mean, kind of. Not
And
really. I wasn't planning on talking about Dave Ramsey at all,
I
but I
wasn't
guess,
either.
yeah,
I was joking around,
he has some
keeping it light.
stuff. Yeah, keeping the humor here. We're a very serious, somber podcast most of the time,
Yeah,
so it's good to sometimes throw in some jokes.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, Dave Ramsey. No. Uh, yeah, renting versus ownership. I think that's what we're going for here. I think a little bit of a sub of that is like physical versus digital ownership, because I have some thoughts on digital ownership, which is not renting per se, but kind of is more like leasing. But we can get into that. Um, why don't you start us off, man? What you got? Shoot a hot take from your hip. Let's see what it is.
Well, I just think it's weird. I think it's weird that you got to pay subscriptions for everything, and I hate
Yeah,
subscriptions.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and it's just it gets so ridiculous. I was looking at like activity trackers um recently and doing like research on different ones. Um, and so many of them you have to pay like a monthly fee.
Do you
I'm like
mean,
I'm not gonna
well, for clarification, you mean like the health fitness stuff?
yeah like a
Oh,
Fitbit
yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and it's crazy. It's like I just want to buy a thing and then it should count my steps without like me having to pay to like get that data
Yeah,
transferred to my like it's just so crazy.
yeah.
Uh, and I think so many people kind of fall into the trap of paying for all the things like streaming services and um like everything else that requires a subscription fee. And it's just so much money and it's so crazy. Um, and the other side of it that we're going to talk about too is like buying versus owning a home or owning
Oh
versus
yeah.
renting a home and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Um, and even like with owning a home, I mean, I think this is just the state of the economy, um, and it has been for some time, so it's not like it's going to change anytime soon. But like people say they own their home, a lot of times it's like the bank owns their home and they're paying the mortgage. So like even when you own a home, you don't really like own it. Like you're still paying monthly fees.
Ben's going on his
Um,
anti-mortgage rant.
yeah, I
Well,
know.
I should go on my property tax
That's
rant.
different because that's like a high, like a high price thing. But like a car too, like people
Yeah,
like lease
same thing.
cars, same kind of thing. But also like something that should be for most people, um, or maybe not most, but a lot of people, it should be achievable not to lease your car. Like you should be able to buy it.
Yeah.
But like there's so many things to decentivize you from taking that route nowadays. When in theory it'd be less expensive. And then you own it.
There's a lot there, man.
And
There's a
then you
lot
own
there.
it, man.
I
I
I'm on board with you with a lot of stuff. I think my big thing is I don't okay, so we're like rip this apart in a handful of different ways. I think my first big thing is home ownership. Mortgaging, that's one thing. It's a significant payment. It's a large purchase. We get it. Um, it's a little bit like, yeah, you're paying the bank to like temporarily live in your, not temporarily, but you're paying the bank to like the right to live in your home for 30 years or however long your mortgage is, and then you own it. That's great. The other thing about that is property taxes, which is not necessarily the way we're going, but I do think we should have exemptions for primary domiciles when it comes to property taxes. I think you could start getting into any subsequent purchase or building owned and then like size of acreage after a certain amount. But Not the point of this podcast episode. But like for cars, leasing a car is like blows my mind. I get if you're someone who just like needs to have the newest thing, that's probably makes the most sense is just lease. But I can't. I like it just conceptually is insane to me. Like, no, I purchased my car. I had some monthly payments because I had like enough for like half the cost up front. But like I bought a good certified pre-owned car from a dealership, and so it's lasted me for 6 years now. Absolutely no issues. It's paid off, so I don't even have monthly payments anymore. But it's like I'm gonna ride that car into the ground because I don't care about buying a new car. But if you're someone who just like needs to have the next thing, you're either going to pay off your car and then sell it immediately and get the next car and go right back into monthly car payments, or you're just going to be perpetually leasing new cars. And every time you lease, you're not just doing a down payment, which is usually several $1,000s, but then you're also paying, a monthly payment for however long the length of the lease is. So you're just perpetually in debt, so to speak, to in leasing. I guess you're not technically in debt, but you're in this agreement, you're in this contractual obligation to pay this monthly rate for your car. And it's just a way to shackle people down, I think, into like constantly owing other people money, owing other companies money. Um, and the other thing that you mentioned was subscription services. I'm so tired of subscription services. There are like four shows I actually enjoy watching, and they're all, of course, on different subscription services. So if I want to be able to watch them, I need to pay like $50 a month. Just, you know what I mean? It's just absurd. My biggest gripe with that too, sports. The only thing keeping cable alive right now is sports. If you try to just stream sports, you would need to pay like five different services to stream sports. I love baseball, but man, do I hate baseball's streaming policies. I live in a place that blacks out from my favorite team, meaning I'm not allowed to buy the streaming service from MLB directly to watch my team. It won't let me because geographically I'm in their quote unquote blackout zone. On top of that, every like, I don't know, 20 games, every like 20 games a season, the games are on ESPN or Amazon Prime or Apple TV Plus, and now they just did a deal with Netflix. And I'm just like, now if you want to watch those games, you have to own those streaming services. And it's just absurd. And the expectation is you now need to spend 80 to $100 a month on streaming services just to be able to watch everything you could watch on cable for like $80 a month. But now no one does anything on cable anymore because everything is streaming services, except for sports. So it's a horrible cycle. So you can't just go back to cable. Um, yeah, it's a mess. I hate it. I hate this idea of temporary ownership or like incomplete ownership. Um, Similar to leasing, digital ownership of anything is nothing more than a lease on a license. Whenever you read the fine print, you'll realize that it says, "Oh, you like we are like you're buying the right to the license to use our product, but we can revoke that license at any point in time for whatever we want." Like 90% of the time, that's what the policy is. So a really big popular thing on PC gaming is Steam. They're awesome in a lot of ways, but that's ultimately all you're doing is you're just buying the license to these games, right? Um, Xbox, PS5, whatever, they all do the same thing. Nintendo, it's all the same thing. Unless you physically own the cartridge, you do not own the game. Um, and I used to that great that grates me. So I have started to slowly accumulate Blu-rays of and DVDs if the Blu-ray doesn't exist of shows and movies that I really, really enjoy and also think have some sort of value to watch. So not everything I enjoy I'm going to buy because some things I'm just like, oh, this is sort of like consumerist crap. But with video games, I kind of done that, but for the most part, I don't care because I'm like, at the end of the day, I don't need to have a shelf full of video games because unless you have this system, like it's not going to be watchable, whatever, or playable, whatever. Um, so I personally don't mind that I know when I'm buying a video game digitally, I don't technically own it, which is also why I only buy it when they're on sale for like 80% off because I'm not going to give you $70 for something I don't technically own. Um, yeah, I could keep going on this, but I'm gonna pause and let you come back into this.
Yeah, no, I agree with kind of everything you're saying there of like Yeah, definitely in my family we try to buy things. Like we actually, I mean, we do not pay for any streaming services.
Yeah.
We do um use some, extended family members logins for stuff, but we just don't pay any for any streaming services, and it just seems ridiculous,
Mhm.
like especially because like I think the movies and TV that we'll watch, um like it's gonna like 10 years from now, I think we're gonna be watching the same things. Like
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna be, our tastes are gonna be developing so much. And like the movies that I want to watch are movies I've seen before for the most part. So
Hmm.
I think, yeah, like trying to just like build up a library of movies and TV and stuff. That way we're kind of free to do what we want. And then again, like you're kind of not locked into a system. Um, and that money goes somewhere, like that money goes to the DVD or it goes to like the Blu-ray or whatever. Like it actually goes to the product versus you're just like throwing away money every month. And
Yeah.
then if you canceled your streaming service, like you don't have anything to watch.
Yeah.
And it is crazy. Like at the beginning, I'm a man. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, that's just
I'm a husband and father.
yeah, yeah,
So
I
of
get it.
course, and I'm American, so of course I like football.
Naturally.
But at the beginning of the season, at the football season, I was like, maybe I like look into getting like a football subscription. Because I enjoy like I think more and more as I'm getting older. Um, because I'm so old. I enjoy like the strategy of football and like what I do enjoy it, and I know it's
Yeah.
stereotypical thing, but I was like maybe I'll look into this, and it's just yeah, like you have like you're saying about baseball, like you have to pay like five different services or at least three, I think, for to get like all the football games, and it's
Yeah.
that's crazy. Like it's totally crazy. Like you have to pay for like YouTube TV Sunday ticket, which gives you like everything except for like Thursday and Monday and like your local team, right? So then
Yeah.
it's like, all right, you got to pay this service for Thursday night football and this one for Monday night, and it's just like, yeah, you're paying hundreds of dollars, and you're like not get like it's crazy, and it's all like I think kind of a byproduct of the evolution of cable and then like where these streaming services kind of rose up.
Yeah.
Like in a perfect world, it would be like the NFL just directly streams every football game and you have to pay that. But like these are the way that sort of the cable and like this kind of market has developed. It's like developed to protect the existence of cable, like you were saying, um, which seems kind of stupid, but that's a separate thing. But yeah, like to have to pay for all these like monthly fees and stuff, it's crazy. And I think the same thing too, like is like with people's phones,
Yeah.
like and this is crazy. I've never done this, and this is crazy to me that like people pay like whatever, like 30, $50 a month for their cell service, but they're also like paying their phone off at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, so you're not like buying a phone up front, you're paying for the cell service and you're paying for like a fraction of your phone every month
Yeah.
until it's paid. And that's crazy. And like if you do the math, like at the end, by the time the phone is like quote unquote paid off, like you've lost so much money. Like it's so crazy. And the reason people do it is, or the reason, I mean, I think people do it because they don't know better at the times, but also like it's so that they can trade in their phone for a better phone when the new phone comes out,
Yep.
which is also just great. Like phones work, man. Like, like they work for so long.
Phone should work, dude.
That's just what they do. Um, and yeah, it's like a consumerist culture thing. Um, but again, you're losing so much money on it. It's so crazy.
Yeah, I just phones way back in the day, for our younger audiences, way back in the day, when you got a phone, you either had to straight up buy it outright, or you had to do what's essentially a lease, and you would put down like they would, the big deal was like, oh, it's just $1 down, and then you just sign on. It's like $20 a month for the phone, and you got to hand it in after 2 years, 3 years, whatever. So nowadays the whole like phone payment plan thing is new, where you actually like are paying to own it, but you're kind of locked in until you own it. Though I think a lot of places you could pay it off early. Um, but yeah, it's everywhere. It's if you look at what's the place called? What's the company called? Affirm, I think it is. Um, They are heavily I don't know if they're like part of Amazon. I just saw them first on Amazon. Um, but basically it's like, oh, this is a large purchase. Would you like to break it up over monthly payments? And you're like, that sounds awesome because I can afford the monthly rate, but buying it all at once might kill me, you know? And then you do it and it's like, cool, we're going to charge you this percent interest rate. So you're actually paying more overall, but monthly it's more doable, right? It's like, let's say you're going to buy, like, I just bought a Mac Mini. I bought like the basic level because I don't need anything intense with it in terms of like storage. Also, I bought a little base that you can do storage expansion on, whatever. Anyway, point is, but when I was clicking on it, it was like, oh, hey, this is like pricey. Like, would you like to break it up into monthly payments? And I'm like, no, I don't want to open up another line of credit to do, monthly payments with interest that affects my credit score. Now, I have great credit, humble brag. I have great credit because I was very smart with how I've done it for the past, gosh, how long have I had it? 13 years I have credit now. Um, but it's so tempting, right? People are just yeah, I'm gonna be blunt. I'm gonna be blunt. I'm gonna say people are perpetuating their own poverty because they're spending beyond their means because they see things like that and they think, oh, I can afford those monthly things. But now you're doing that three, four, five times plus your subscriptions. Now all of a sudden you have several $100s a month going to these things and you're no longer capable of saving or investing your money. It's just like a perpetual like impoverish, that's not a real word. A perpetual like debt cycle that you put yourself in willingly. Now we don't need to go into the whole student loan stuff, all right? That's not part of this podcast. That's what the issue here. As predatory as those are. But someone described oh man, I can't remember the exact phrase, but I saw someone describe one time car payments as like the middle class like debt trap or something like that, where like you're constantly either buying new cars or leasing new cars, and so you're constantly just have these multiple hundreds of dollars. And if you have two cars, sometimes maybe like $1,000 a month in car payments. How that's $1,000 a month on things that once you pay off, you should keep paid off. Because imagine if you had that much extra money going to your savings or partially savings, partially investing, which is what I do, right? But you're just so caught up in I need a new thing, I want the new thing, da 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 da. Like, no, you don't need the new thing. Now there's general concern, like my car's shot. It's totally totaled. It's literally it would cost more. You went through this. It would cost more to like fix the car than it would be to just buy another car. Um, great, do that. That makes sense. But like my car's been paid off for 18 months now. It works perfectly fine. It's great. I have zero reason. The color is gaudy and I hate it. Um, and
I feel like
so
it's nice. I feel like it's a good time.
it's
Like a bright
whatever.
blue.
I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I don't care because also I'm just not a car guy. Some people like obsess over this stuff. I'm like, hey, it gets me to point A and B safely and consistently. I'm good,
Yeah.
And it has the brand. It's a Subaru. I got 100,000 miles on it. I can get another 100,000, 150,000 miles off this bad boy. Um, so I'm in no rush. I'm in no rush. The only reason my wife and I would get new cars is that we get two more kids, and then we just need the space, so we would just get a minivan. And minivans nowadays, side little digression here, minivans today are awesome. They have like the coolest amount of features you could ever find in a car. Now, is that a reason to buy a minivan? No, that's not why you should buy a minivan. But they're really making it like, hey, you're gonna be using these for like long hauling children or doing road trips or whatever. So we're gonna make it as convenient and comfortable for you as possible. It's kind of like they're like luxury on the inside. You should really take a look. Anyone interested, take a look at minivans.
Do you remember the minivans? I always think about this. The minivans where the seats would turn around,
Ah,
like while it was driving and the
they got to
table
bring
would
those
come up.
back. They got to bring those back,
They were
man.
like a thing for like 2 years. I bet you it's like illegal now
Oh,
because it was
probably
like a
lame.
big thing in like the early 2000s where like all the minivans are starting to have these tables and you could like sit there while the car was driving facing the other way.
They used
Like,
to have it so the very rear seats would pull up and they'd face backwards.
yeah.
That was sick. I rode in those one time. It was the coolest experience ever. Definitely tons of safety concerns with that, but but it's still super fun. Um, but no, they have like HD television screens coming down, HDMI hookups. I was joking with my buddies, like we did a road trip. Um, whoever's driving is driving, but other people could just sit in the back and play Xbox. on
I
the
know
TV. Like
this,
it's crazy. It's crazy what you can
which
do
is not
nowadays.
necessarily what you want for your
No,
kids, but
no, no.
it's for us.
Exactly. That's
It's for the
exactly.
parents.
It was for me and the boys, not for the kids. Sorry, kids, no screens for you. You
Yeah,
know.
I agree with kind of what you're saying too, of like, yeah, the whatever the Affirm thing where they offer you a payment plan,
Yeah.
like it makes something seem affordable.
Hmm.
Um, it's like the same thing with like, yeah, like you paying off your phone over time,
Yeah.
right? Like if you look at the price of a new iPhone, like you'd be like, oh, I'm like, there's no way I'm paying for that.
Yeah.
Um, same thing with like a lot of cars. It's like this seems like an absurd amount of money. But if you like pay it off up front, then you're gonna like buy within your means versus if you're kind of paying monthly fees, you're more tempted to like, oh, well, I could pay an extra $100 a month or something. But then you're just like throwing money away in the long term. Um, yeah, which is crazy. But it is also like there's a certain level of, yeah, like you kind of getting trapped in it, right? Like when I just, like you mentioned, I just bought a new car.
Yeah.
And I ended up in a great situation where I had a family member that was looking to get rid of their car. And so I
Yeah.
ended up getting it for a lot less than it was worth. But it's just like, yeah, like I have a kid, so I
Hmm.
can't buy a crappy car, like
Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah.
before, my kid was born, right? Like I would have been like, I'm gonna buy the cheapest car I can that'll like get me from A to B. But now it's like, okay, like I need a safe car,
Hmm.
and then that, the price range of a safe car, gets a lot higher. And so it is like I think, without this situation with my family member, like I could have seen myself, I think I would have avoided it probably, but I could have seen myself tempted to, yeah, like go for like a car loan or something that
Yeah.
just because that, yeah, like it makes it achievable now. But then you lose money in the long run, which, like sometimes that's the only option for people. And it's totally understandable. Um, and it's understandable for a car. And I think this is the kind of the point we're trying to make with the podcast is like, it's not understandable for the 300. I just went to the Affirm website and they were
Yeah.
advertising a $300 lamp. It's like if you can't, like if you can't pay upfront for a $300 lamp, like not that I would ever buy a $300 lamp in my life,
Right, but you
but
probably
like
shouldn't have a
you
$300
shouldn't buy
lamp.
it. Like don't
Yeah.
buy the lamp, man. Like
Oh yeah,
like
look, I
it's
just I just looked it
crazy.
up too. Yeah, it's literally floor lamp, $350. Hey man, pay that off monthly. No, why you need a $350 floor lamp?
Right.
Also,
And
underrated,
people fall into that
underrated.
trap. Yeah, it's
Go
an
to
ugly lamp. It's an
Not only
ugly
that,
lamp.
dude, honestly, underrated thing. Also, first off, most furniture you buy nowadays is like crap material, just garbage. You want good stuff that's gonna last you a while, go to thrift stores, go to flea markets. People sell that stuff way under market value. Sometimes some places they like do full market value. It's very annoying. But some places they're just or like Facebook Marketplace or on the side of the road. Ben has found. I'm gonna hype up Ben here. Ben has found some of like the nicest, what one aesthetically pleasing and two like high quality furniture that people just put in their front yards for free. And I'm not saying like Ben like it's like been sitting out in the rain. It's like crappy and Ben just like has this like gross thing in his house. Like no, it's like good quality stuff, and he just finds it on the side of the road, and you can do that. You know,
My armchair.
yeah,
The
it's
armchair
like
I sit in every day. It's like the nicest armchair I've ever seen. It's pristine, found on the side
you
of the road.
just people just need to get over this idea of like you need to be spending money I don't know, what are you doing? Like, flexing on people? Are you trying to like impress people? Oh yeah, I spent $1,000 on this lamp. I think you're dumb. You know what I mean? I don't think you're like impressing anyone with that. I mean, maybe you are other people who are like obsessed with that stuff, but
I, I
there's
don't know
just
who that's happening to.
it's just so much. I don't know. I think this
Like this
is
is my lamp.
I've always been like this, but I think I've become even more like this with like a wife and child, where I'm like, no. Yeah, like if I'm just gonna spend $1,000 on a lamp, I'd rather spend $20 on a lamp and then put $980 in my kid's savings account. If I'm just gonna get rid of $1,000. Um, I probably actually put in investing, but regardless, it's just this constant stream of that. Like every time my wife and I we do like every month we go over our budget, just obviously see if we were under, over, and different things. And I've done everything I can to get rid of subscription fees for anything that we subscribe to. There are some things. There's like one thing, or there's two things, sorry, that I subscribe to, where they have a one-time purchase option. So like if you do, or like not one time, but like you pay for the whole year up front at once. And when you do that, not only do you usually get the biggest discount because they're just excited someone's giving them a large chunk of change that quickly, um, but then you don't have to put that in your monthly budget. And it's the same thing. Can I afford this right now if I drop, you know, whatever, how much money it was, right now? Yes, we can afford that. And that also like prevents us from having to have a monthly recurring subscription to keep track of all that stuff. And also we get the largest discount for doing that. Um, so it's like those are like alternatives I would suggest for people as well as if you subscribe to something, see if you can do a year at a time. Because those are usually the biggest discounts, and it's so much easier on you for your monthly budgeting to not have to do it. Um,
Yeah. And I
yeah,
think too, like the action item with like the movies, I think that's the easiest thing
yeah,
in my head too, is like, yeah, just get like go to a thrift store and get
yep,
a cheap like Blu-ray player and then just buy DVDs at thrift stores and stuff. Like you
yeah,
just save so much money and then you own it and then you can watch it as many times as you want.
yeah.
Especially, yeah, like talking about children, like that children want to watch like the same three movies over and over again. So like if you're
If
gonna show them any
yes,
movies,
yeah.
like
Well, that's the thing too.
they
If you're
need like
sitting
three,
here,
you know?
and if you're just sitting here like, oh man, how do I make sure my kids don't watch anything I don't want them to watch? You only let them use the Blu-ray on a TV that's not internet capable, and you give them the pre-selected library of Blu-rays and DVDs, and you're done.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
it. If my kid's like, I want to watch a movie, and I'm like, cool, go pick one out, and the only options he has are like Muppets, then it's like great. I don't have to worry about what they pick, and then go watch it on their own. My kids aren't old enough to do that yet, but presumably when they are that old. Um, because you on Disney Plus, and it's like, is this a kids one? Well, yeah, no, it's not, because my kids aren't gonna be watching television like regularly. But if they were to watch movies or stuff like that, either we're going to be watching it with them, so I'll be in control anyway, or we just do the physical disc and Blu-ray player option, and they just have their little like entertainment room, and that's it. Their only options are non-internet connected devices, and the library of movies and TVs they can watch are pre-selected by me and their mother, and that's it. And you're golden,
Yeah, and kids don't care, you know?
They
Like I
really
think
they don't.
like they're not gonna be like, this is not enough movies. They're gonna be like, these are the
reflecting
movies.
reflecting
Like
on me as a kid, what I did, I would watch the same like three movies a bajillion times when I go
yeah.
to my grandparents' house. It wasn't like they had like a whole library of like movies, and I would just watch the same three over and over again. And from what
Yeah.
I've been told of parents of older kids, it's still the same way. It's still the same way.
Right.
Kids are just gonna love whatever they watch, and they're gonna say, "This is all I ever want to watch."
Yeah, I
So
would just watch Star Wars and The Incredibles. That was
yeah, you
and I
did.
was so happy about
I
that.
watched Toy Story so many times as a kid. It's insane. And Star Wars. Star Wars is also big. But yeah, you just give your kid, yeah, you let them have access to episodes 1 through 6. The rest don't exist.
Yeah.
And then that's it. That's it. I made that joke with my wife where I was like, we will never play the sequels in this house. And she laughed and she goes, okay.
It's so funny because my wife and I made that same joke because we bought 1 through 6 on DVD.
Yeah.
Um, and we were like, we're not going to get the other ones. They don't need to know that they
They
exist.
don't exist. They don't
Like,
exist.
we can watch them, as long as our family member has Disney Plus that we're mooching off of. But
Yeah. Yeah.
they're not good for formation of children.
No,
It's
they're
not what Star
terrible.
Wars is.
Especially episode 8, totally subversive. It was terrible. The whole sequel trilogy was garbage. But maybe Rogue One. We get Rogue One because Rogue One was actually like the one good Disney
Yeah, Rogue
movie.
One was solid.
Although hot take on this one, Solo was actually good. Solo apparently sabotaged all the other standalone movies Disney was going to plan on doing because it was received poorly. I actually think Solo was a pretty solid Star Wars movie. Um, anyway. Yeah, so going into this idea of like renting, ownership, all that kind of stuff, I know it was all the big things we talked about, but something that's been like on my heart this past couple months, definitely since my daughter's been born, where I've already had this desire, and Ben, you know this, any parent listening know this. Once you like actually see your kid, you're like, oh man, I just gotta do more. I gotta be better. I gotta do more. Um, and so you gotta lock in, So my big thing now is I want land and I want a house for my family. I was telling my wife like I want our kids to grow up where they go outside and they go pick the eggs from the chickens and they go play out in the woods because we own it and we know it's safe. Or they go like run around on the yard and stuff like that. And so home ownership versus renting is a big deal right now with younger generations, millennials and Gen Z in particular, like struggling to afford homes. Um, so there's a matter of like you got to find a place that has good cost of living, but also has a job for you. That's the tough part because you can move to the middle of nowhere, South Dakota, and get a house with plenty of land that's affordable. But then what are you going to do for work? You know, unless you have a job that's guaranteed remote all the time, like and pays well, you're not, it's you got to redo your whole life if you want to do that. So, the big thing we're doing, Ben and I, obviously we're millionaires because we're not Catholic, so it's not an issue for us, but you really got to think like, how do you own your own property? Because I think going into a reflection on man and what we're called to do by God, this right home ownership and the cultivation of the land you own, I think that's like, yeah, that's so good. Literally having your own property, tilling the land, making good use of it, and raising a family is like the point of like human life right now. If you remove the spiritual aspect from it, which you shouldn't and you won't, um, but like even if you just did it on like the basic level, you would be so satisfied as a person, I think. And I'm not saying go sell all your property and go start a farm. You're gonna fail, you're gonna hate it, you're gonna be miserable. But it's not impossible to desire to own your own property in your home and to do even the most basic level of homesteading stuff, like laying chickens, maybe meat chickens if you're comfortable with like killing your own animals. Um, but you just kind of go from there. And you have a small garden with like staple food that you like to eat,
Yeah.
just little
E-
things like that.
Even like just maintaining like the physical house and things like that. Like there's something like very beautiful and like yeah, like wholly about like maintaining a space that is like yours, that belongs to you, that's been entrusted to you by God
Yeah.
in a sense. And I think that kind of brings us full circle with this thought of like, yeah, for young parents out there like us that are like hoping for this, in their future,
Yeah.
like it requires you like making intentional decisions about where your money's going now. And again, like one of the biggest pits that I think people throw their money into is the streaming service, is I'm going to lease this car, like things like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
It's just
we definitely like have a different economy than our parents and grandparents had. So, everyone's saying that it's definitely harder,
hmm
but there are also like concrete things that people do to make it worse on themselves.
Yeah.
And so I think our invitation to you as discerning Catholics um, is to not do those things.
Yeah, I think it is a legitimately harder economy to be able to just afford a home for you and your family. And it's also harder in the sense that there's greater temptations to spend your money elsewhere nowadays than there were before. So it's a tough road, but there need to just be like those hard realities, like what really matters more to you right now? Like, do you actually need to be spending 70, 60, even just $50 a month on streaming services? And if the answer is like, well, yeah, because I watch stuff all the time, then I guess my question would be why are you spending so much time watching media? But if it's like, no, I only watch it like a movie like every so often, or like maybe I watch one TV show, then it's like, all right, is that like how valuable is that? And like, can you not just wait until it comes out on physical disc and does it matter that much? Um, yeah, I think for movies especially, I'm just like, if I enjoy the movie and I really think it's good, I'm just gonna buy it. I don't care about what streaming service it's on because I own it. TV shows is a little different. There's like very few shows I think I would want to like actually own the complete series on, but same situation. Like if we really like that's what my wife and I do. When we pick a new TV show, we've been watching Blu-rays of them. And I'm just like, this is what I'm going to go through because we own it. I think it's good. It's fun. But yeah, I think just the reiteration, it's we are a lot of people are asking for our money, and you really
Oh, I
need to
thought you
be a
meant us
good steward. No,
specifically.
no, 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 no. If you want to support, if you want to support us, if you want to send your monthly subscriptions to us, we'll be happy to take it. But there is a sense of like you got to be smart about it. You got to really be discerning with it. You can't just be so casual with your money that you just say yes to all these people asking for it. Um, and I think yeah, that's just like it's a big thing to prioritize too. Um, yeah. I don't know. Do you have any other closing thoughts here, Ben?
I don't think so. I think that's basically it. And I think if you're out there and you're not married and you're a young person, you're hoping to get
Yeah.
married, um, like this matters to you too. Like how incredible would it be for you to enter into marriage, not only debt free, but like with something financial to offer your spouse and your family in the future.
Yeah,
Um, like that's just so beautiful to be able to do that, and it gives you a better, more comfortable starting point as well. So
yeah,
this is an invitation for everybody, not just for those that are married.
yeah. No, it's for everybody for sure. But it's just it's a hard economy we're in. It's a hard life we're in, you know. And I know there's some of this like, well, I like to go home. I like to watch something. It relaxes me, calms me down. All right, not even gonna get to that conversation. You can watch our episodes on Holy Leisure, um, if you're curious about that, our thoughts on that, or video games, if you're curious about our thoughts on that. But I think it's just prudence with money, stewardship of money. It's a virtue, and it's a requirement. If you're single, you have a little bit more leeway with it. But once you are married and once you have children, like you have greater obligations than your own desires. That's part of the sacrifice of these situations. I know that sounds very unattractive to some people, but I can assure you it's actually awesome. Like it calls you to a place of being you've never been called to before. Um, but the rewards are so worth it. The rewards are so worth it. So anyway, that was our episode on monthly subscriptions, just constant, yeah, I guess like general stewardship of money, like you're guarding yourself from superlative spending on subscription services.
Indeed.
Indeed,
Um,
indeed.
what do we say at the
What?
end? What do we say at the end? You want to start it? I don't. No, wait, I get it. I'm
Okay.
Ben,
Oh my gosh. I'm Rob.
and this has been
Analog Catholic.